Hello and welcome to Yoga for Shoulder Pain and Injury. Even better yet, safe yoga for shoulder pain and injury. My goal is to get your wheels spinning so that you can get creative and realize that you can practice yoga with any injury. And so I'm just going to give you a couple of different ideas about how to, specifically within Ashtanga and Vinyasa yoga practices, ways that you can rehab your shoulder and get it to feel a lot better. Now, main thing, check with your doctor. I'm not offering medical advice, but I will give you some good yoga advice, in my opinion. All right. So, with that being said, you know, one of the first thing that we end up doing in a Vinyasa yoga class is ending up taking our arms above our head in a Surya Namaskar or a sun salutation. And then we're going to end up putting quite a bit of pressure on our arms, moving through things like Chaturanga, up dog, and down dog. Now, all of these movements might be the best thing for your shoulder, but at the same time, they might be something that we need to put on hold for a little while. Two main ways to do rehab and recovery. There's many more, I'm sure, but two main ways that I've found. One, immobilization, not using the arm at all, giving the arm a chance to rest and to heal. That is a really good idea right at the beginning, at the first stage of an injury, or maybe post surgical procedure. And we're going into the rehab recovery process. We might be instructed to wear a sling and keep our shoulder immobilized. With that being said, it is possible to do yoga with the rest of the body and still move through a lot of these routines. One thing you can do for up dog is you can do a camel pose. And here I'm just keeping my arm braced in this front of my body. And for the down dog, now laying on the arm in a child's pose is not appropriate. So what we might do is just kind of do something very simple where you feel like wherever your arm is landing on your legs and you just relax and hold. So the main idea is to take the form of movement that you're used to doing and then modifying the movement so that you don't do what you're attempting to not do. So with that being said, the second main way to rehab an injury, okay, arm has been taken out of the sling, and now it's time to start to move the arm again. And we need to do this in a very incremental, slow, steady fashion so that we don't re-injure the site, the shoulder. But at the same time, you got to start moving it again because otherwise you can get frozen shoulder and lose range of motion within the shoulder. So another way that we can practice Surya Namaskar, well, let me demonstrate if I don't have my arm in a sling, but yesterday, say I fell and I dislocated my shoulder. The shoulder has been set back in, but it's painful. It hurts a lot. I don't want to move it at all. I just want to give it a little bit of time to rest. So I'm going to do the movement of my arms. So instead of taking my arms above my head, I'm just going to simply bend my elbows for the inhale, bring the hands to prayer position. And then we're going to exhale and fold forward. So I'm just going to bring my arms beside my body and fold down. Inhale, raise your head up, and you come down on your hands and knees. And for up dog, you just move into a camel-like position. And for down dog here, I'm just going to come into a child's pose and just relax my arm down beside the body. So you can hold here for 5. And then in the reverse order of coming back up, you can come up to standing and do a little halfway lift. And then you can exhale and fold. And then when you inhale, come up and just bring your hands without moving the shoulder. You could still move the arms or elbows in a way that then exhale, arms come down. So now in relation to moving the arm and the shoulder, what I found works really well is just very slow, calculated movement to the range that I just start to feel a little bit of discomfort. So, and the other thing that I might do, I'm going to do, or encourage you to try doing is, okay, this is my good shoulder. This is my bad shoulder. So, of course, I could bring this arm all the way up. But what I want you to try doing is letting the good side stay to the same level as the tough side. So then instead of like going like this and raising this arm up, just take both arms to where you're able and just start slowly moving your arms gently, little by little. When you come forward, just a little bit of movement. Now, if you have shoulder impingement where the long head of the biceps, where it comes up into the infraglenoid tubercle, sometimes we can feel that sort of impingement sensation. You might have a nerve that even gets pinched somewhere in the shoulder. Every particular situation will require a different approach. If you don't have a specific manual on what to do, the idea is you figure it out. And that's the best way, in my opinion, to learn how to rehab, because what you learn in doing this, you're going to be able to relate this to other people that you talk to that also have the same situation. I have rehabbed my shoulders multiple times. It just required I have to do, you have to do, we have to do a completely different way of working with our body. So let me go through a couple of other different poses. Let's try the straight namaskar B. How could I do where I'm going to keep my shoulder relatively immobilized. All right, here we go. So inhale, chair, bend the knees, raise the arms up. Exhale, fold, bring the head down. Inhale, breathe, raise the head up. Exhale, come down to your chaturanga. What you can do is take your hands into like a very minimal, like even just this movement of bending the elbows and extending the wrist joints can start to work the ligaments and tendons connecting from the elbow up to the shoulder. So we can do an inhale, upward dog. Now, one way to work the down dog, and in my opinion, a good way to start rehabbing the shoulder to get ready for down dog. Here I've come into a sitting position with my hips on the heels. If you're unable to sit like this, you could always take a block, and you can use a block to sit on top to give you a little bit of prop if your knees or ankles hurt. Or another way you can go is sit in a chair, or another way you can go is simply sit on the floor. And then of course, I might as well add one more since I have a block here, you can sit on the block. Now, what we want to do is just start breaking down. Well, the down dog movement in essence is to have our arms like this when we're in down dog. So a couple of things to start experimenting with. How do my arms feel when I go into flexion? How do my arms feel when I go into extension? How does my shoulder feel when I go into abduction? From abduction, how do I feel to do horizontal adduction? And likewise, how does it feel to go horizontal abduction? And these are some of the main movements. We haven't really started dealing with rotation too much, but just to kind of focus on the flexion, the extension, the abduction, and in this case, adduction down, and start to investigate. Well, I feel the pain when I go into flexion. Can I go into abduction? I feel it a little bit right here. Can I go into extension? I feel a little bit when I get here. So now what I've discovered is that all three of these main range of motions, they all tend to get a little bit triggered as I start to go into the range and press into that full movement. So I think what seems to work really well is just very slow, controlled movement of those three different directions, just to the point where you're feeling it and you're moving it, but it's not terribly painful. I recommend don't start bearing weight on the arm or the shoulder until you can get the arm into the range of motion that is required for you to actually bear the weight. The motion that you'll need for down dog is to be able to have your arms directly above your head. And so if you can get to this part where you don't have pain, then start to add weight to the posture. In other words, start to go into a downward dog-like position. Now, if I can now, I've assumed the ability, I've resumed the ability to be able to go all the way above, feeling pretty good. But when I start to put my hands on the floor and I start to go into this sort of motion and put a little pressure on it, that's where I feel challenged. Well, now you figured out where your edge is. What we're wanting to do is figure out where is your edge in all of the different positions. I recommend don't go into a class to do this. Do this in the privacy of your own home, using video, using your intuition. That's going to be key, because what will happen, you'll be in the room with other people. And I mean, unless you have a really good group that you feel super safe in, that you know the teacher respects your edge and your boundary, and then I think that will be an appropriate place to work. But if you're going to like a high power class where people are just jumping from one pose to the next, I say for a little while, my recommendation is like, give yourself a little bit of time to heal before you go back into that environment. All right, so I'm at this point where this is really painful, but I'm here. Again, remember, don't add weight to it. Start to just work with the range of motion. Now, also, I'm a licensed massage therapist. I believe in the power of touch. And I think that if you start literally manipulating the sore shoulder with your hand, Also get things like Tiger Balm or BioFreeze, or things that you can start rubbing into the shoulder, arnica, anything. The main idea is you just want to create a self-care routine. So if you have some sort of lotion or cream or ointment that feels really good, people are using CBD, having a lot of good results with that, and just start literally doing your own physical therapy and massage therapy on your own shoulder. And what you can do is you can start working gentle pressure points around the sore area. One thing I find a lot of people do is they are too aggressive, and they feel like they have to make it hurt really bad, and they start pushing, and the next day they come and go, oh, I was pushing on my shoulder so hard and it hurts really bad now. And so there's the answer right there. Don't push so hard. Just do like really soft, gentle manipulation, and then start to try to move it again. And all this work that you do, you can heal your body, and your body is healing. It's not even that you're doing it. Your body is healing, but you're getting involved in the healing process. And you're starting to now manipulate your arm, do a little bit of soft pressure point work, and just really work off the axiom of like, does it feel good? If it feels good, I think you're in the realm of safety and things are going to be working. If it's horribly painful and hurts like crazy, just maybe go back to immobilization for a day or two, right? So you're just going to not move it around. You're going to have to, maybe drive the car with the one hand. I know it's hard to write with your left hand if you're right-handed, but all right, I just want to give you lots of ideas just to trigger your imagination, to get you thinking outside of the box. Healing often requires thinking outside of the box. All right, let's just go triangle. I mean, it's a real classic pose as well. If this shoulder, I mean, if I'm immobilizing it, I can still practice a triangle where I keep my arm close to my body here. And then when I go to the other side, I just won't lift my arm off my body. I'm just going to keep it close in. A pose like Prasarita Pado Tanasana A. I might choose just to relax my arms, catching my fingers behind my back, and I can still fold forward. I could always just bring one hand down on the floor and do with one hand. This might be a good one where you have the ability to put your arm out in front. So if you can get your arm out in front, and you can just start manipulating, pulling your elbows in and out and moving your shoulder into a little bit of rotational motion. Again, you're just going really slow and rehabbing it. I think finding that perfect balance of, eliminate weight bearing, movement, gentle movement, finding your edge, going to where that is, and then applying this formula. Once you have this formula in place, you apply it to every single pose that you bump up against, and then get really creative. I have a student the other day, she was doing something I've never seen before, and it was brilliant. It was so smart. And so the point being that you have intuition and intelligence. All right. Where else can we go? So, well, now obviously in relation to something like Gomukhasana, where we take our arms behind, now these can be really good rehab stretches for the shoulder, but this might be too extreme of a movement to do in the beginning. So then what is the main movement that is created in a Gomukhasana? The first action is flexion, the elbow flex, and there's a little bit of internal rotation. I know it's a little confusing, but when your elbow goes out to the side, the shoulder is it's rotating inward. So if I get to here and I support my elbow with my hand, and I can just slowly start to move a little bit of this rotation, this might be as far as my shoulder can go right now, right? So just starting to take the arm and use all the classic yoga poses to move the arm into these different ranges of motion. I remember this one was terrible for me at one point, where we have to internally rotate the shoulder and bring the arm behind the back. So what you can do is just put your hand on the floor right by your hip, and just real simply kind of fold the right shoulder a little bit forward and start manipulating. If I take my arm out to the side and I start manipulating my shoulder, moving rotation, external rotation and internal rotation, external rotation, internal rotation, and just like real slow. Don't do too much. Definitely start off with like 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes on day one. And then day two, see how you feel. If you're really, really sore from what you do on day one for a few minutes, pull it back to 1 minute, but just move it a little bit again, very slow and steady. Rehabbing the body is one of the most fascinating subjects on the planet, in my opinion. So let's see, we have eagle pose. Eagle pose is where you wrap your right arm under. Now, already this is called horizontal adduction, when we take the arm across this plane. So maybe you have to support the arm with your left hand. You put your other hand on your shoulder and just real gently. Rotator cuff injuries. The rotator cuff is made up of 4 muscles. They start with SITS, supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, and subscapularis. So those 4 muscles are the main muscles that are involved in a rotator cuff injury. Usually in a rotator cuff injury, probably one of those muscles are affected. Maybe there's more than one. But what we want to do is, if you can actually find out from your physical therapist and or chiro/doctor what muscle it is. If they say supraspinatus, we know that when the supraspinatus contracts, that brings the arm up into abduction. So if that's the muscle that's been injured, then we'll know that right off the bat. If you tell me supraspinatus has been pulled or injured, this motion we know is probably going to be difficult, but maybe going forward isn't so bad. So we will get information off of those greater details, but in the beginning, you don't need to know any muscle names, in my opinion. What you want to do is just trust your intuition and go really slow and start working all the different ranges of motion in a very small sphere of space. Does that make sense? I'm chalking fast just to be economical with my time, but I just want to make sure I'm making sense and that it's connecting and you're connecting. Send me questions. I answer my emails. I answer my messages on my social media. So follow us. You can go to nativeyogacenter.com. You can follow us on all our platforms. If you go there, I have a ton of different places that I'm interacting on the online environment. Let me know what you think. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.